Last week we returned back by way of call over to review what we have left since the last hearing. In the process of doing that, we looked upon examination of our roadmap as to how we will proceed on from there. We also arrive at getting some of the specific directions that I believe our good landowners, you were also informed, but I also believe that you were not given the copies of the directions. Though having said that, I'm aware that you are fully aware of the situation that we have arrived at. These specific directions have been signed, and it will also be given to you after the hearing as a way forward to ensure that you know of what is unfolding in the next few weeks as we're leading to the closure of this Commission of Inquiry. The fundamental issue that I have addressed earlier on is that the Prime Minister has extended his Commission of Inquiry up to 28th of April as per the gazettal notice. That is to allow what I see now as the areas where we look at the substantive hearing and where key witnesses comes. And if there's going to be cross-examination on the evidences, this is the time that we will have to go through together with this inquiry. So this morning, sitting on the 62nd day of the hearing, I'm quite happy of the way things have progressed onto this stage. And with a lot of participation from our key witnesses and also the landowner group, I believe we can put some of those things together and come out very clearly as to meeting the objective of the government terms of reference that has been placed before us. Before I go any further to deal with some of those issues that appear on our daily diary this morning, I will now call on our counsel to take us through this morning. Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good morning.
Morning.
Commissioner, this week has been allocated for hearing of the summons and applications, leave applications. Obviously, the leave applications relate to the terms of references in relation to the historical dealings of the subject land. This week's summonses are those in relation to term of reference 1A, B, C, and D to D, double D, D in brackets. And we've gone through the process of identifying the relevant summons, and as a result, we have today's daily diary.
Yes.
So those summons that are listed for today are those that are relevant to the terms of reference or the term of reference which I've just referred to. And I refer to today's daily diary. And before I make mention of the matters, I note the presence of the counsel for Curtin Brothers, Mr. Derek Wood, and his a colleague. I also understand that Mr. Mal Veritimos is online, appearing via video link. And yes, if I could refer to today's daily diary, and just like to inform the Commission that there will not be any actual hearings or hearing today. I propose to have the leave applications by the landowners to be fixed for hearing on Thursday and Friday of this week. I'll come to that. Let me just go by the list. So, Commissioner, if I could mention item number 1 on the list. That's the return of summons number 13 for hearing, and that summons was issued to the Honourable Sir John Pundari. Commissioner, the status with this summons is that Mr. Pundari has produced the relevant documents for which he was summoned, and if a direction could be given for this summons to be extended to next week. And the reason is we are trying to give the opportunity to interested parties. And I stand corrected, but I think there's been indications from ASHES that they might calling for cross-examination. But we have not received any formal notice confirming that yet. So I just want to leave that open and have this summons adjourned to next week with the other summons that have been allocated for next week as well. Thank you, Commissioner.
Council, the summonses are from 1 to 13, is that right?
No, I'm referring to summons number 13.
Summons number 13?
Yes.
That also includes number 14 or only 13?
No, just 13.
13. I'm aware of that, and I'm satisfied of the reasons that have been given, and therefore I have now given specific directions that this summons number 13 is returnable on Monday.
Yes.
Monday week.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like to mention agenda items number 2, number 3, and number 4. Agenda item number 2 is summons number 14. Agenda item number 3 is summons number 15. Agenda item number 4 is summons number 16. Those summonses were issued to the Secretary, Mr. Benjamin Sampson, Mr. Ala Ane, the Registrar of Titles then, and the Honourable John Rosso, the Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, respectively. Commissioner, if those summonses could be adjourned to next week as well. The status is the same as that of summons number 13. They have produced the documents that they were required to produce, and there may be parties that wish to cross-examine them. And to afford them that opportunity, we will ask for an extension of those summonses to next week as well. So if a direction could be given to that effect, Commissioner.
Thank you, Counsel. Given the circumstances and the reasons that have been highlighted, and along with the summons number 13, I have now directed that summons number 14, 15, and 16 is also returnable on Monday week.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, I mentioned item number 5 on the daily diary. That's summons number 18, and it was issued to Mr. Ivan Pomalu.
Yes.
And Commissioner, Mr. Pomalu was summoned for purposes of obtaining the NEC decisions relating to the decision-making process for Motukea as the preferred site. And Commissioner, I have formed the view that those documents or decisions have already been given by Ms. Sowon.
Yes.
Hence, my application this morning to have this summons discharged, Commissioner. We were going to call Mr. Pomalu just in relation to the system of keeping records, because there were some documents, especially submissions in relation to certain NEC decisions that were missing. And we wanted to call him to give evidence into the system of record keeping that the department has, but we've come to the conclusion that that is not really necessary for purposes of the Commission's terms of references. Hence, the application this morning to have summons number 18 discharged, Commissioner. So if a direction could be given.
I'm aware of the lengthy period where this summon was still active to the Commission. However, given the circumstances that you have addressed and also the reason, and given that satisfaction to that effect, I now direct that summons number 18 to Department of Primacy and NEC, Mr. Ivan Pomalu, is now discharged. This direction is effective today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I make mention of agenda items 6, to agenda items 18.
Yes.
on the daily diary. And these are summons, Commissioner, that have yet to be served. So agenda item number 6, all the way to agenda item number 18 on the daily diary, are summons that have yet to be served. And Commissioner, I will apply for a direction to be given for these summons to be extended to the 27th, that is 14 days from today, and that is to enable us to effect service of these summons. If we do decide to serve these summons, we're still considering still deciding to serve them based on whether there's any utility in actually serving these summons, given the progression of time since the drafting of this summons to today, and what the Commission, the evidence and the documents that the Commission has received. So we may end up in a situation where documents that we require from these people have already been given to the Commission. So in the intervening 2 weeks from today, we will undergo an exercise of determining the utility of serving these summons. So,
Council, given the specific directions that I have signed, and to that effect, you have other key witnesses like Ketan Brothers and Balimo 39, which comes into next week's hearing.
right.
I'm just looking at the conflict that it might have in relation to the flow of information. For example, if we have specifically given the whole of next week to Ketan Brothers,
Yes.
one of the key witnesses, and there might be information that these other summonses that are yet to be served, and they might have the opportunity to maybe cross-examine some of those key interested persons. Like, for example, I see in like Honorable Don Collier, Honorable Peter O'Neill, Paul Paco, and the list goes on. Those are interested persons that the Commission is also mindful of that. It is important that there is no classes of information. If it is available and given that opportunity, it must always be available. I'm saying that because when we adjourn given the specific adjournment to 27th, and then you have the major key witness to come in next week, and they might need some information, basically to those other interested key witnesses. Some of them are former politicians, some of them are current, and they might have some crucial information in relation to that. I'm only just trying to demonstrate how the Commissioner sees it and the timing of how the hearing goes. Maybe you can guide me that if 27 is not too far, or we bring it back, or in line with the major key witness, which is Ketan Brothers, who will be next online. Thank you, Council.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, it's, I would say that it's entirely up to the Commission whether the summons should be served on on these various people or various potential witnesses. At this stage, there's really no adverse evidence that has been given by witnesses who've attended the Commission's hearings in relation to any of the witnesses or potential witnesses whose summons have yet to be served. But at the end of the day, Commissioner, it's the Commission's decision to actually decide to serve these people from agenda item number 6 to 18. And if the Commission so decides, then we'll have to give them sufficient notice to prepare themselves and return to the Commission. And I, in my submission, 14 days is should be reasonable for these people to make their position known to the Commission. Hence the application for the extension to the 27th. That's my position, Commissioner.
Am I heard or not?
Sorry, if, we'll ask Mr. Vertimus to enter his appearance and and raise any questions if he has any.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Council Assisting and Commissioner. I appear Veridamos, initials MM. I appear with my learned friends, Mr. D. Wood and Mr. Lilly, for Curtin Brothers Holdings NG Limited and Ballymore Number 39 Limited. Taking up the issues that Council Assisting and you, Commissioner, have raised, I'm not sure whether other senior counsel assisting Mr. Gibson Gororo has passed on the contents of a conversation and discussion that Mr. Wood and I had with Mr. Guerrero last week. And that was to the effect, of course, subject to the Commission ultimately, that it was considered appropriate, consistent with what you, Commissioner, have indicated, that Curtin Brothers have to be afforded natural justice and procedural fairness. And it was thought that given that Curtin Brothers probably will have extensive written submissions to make to assist the Commission on a number of different issues, it was considered appropriate that Curtin Brothers effectively go last in terms of the program, so that Curtin Brothers can ascertain what, if anything, is said by other witnesses. It's intended that Curtin Brothers will make very extensive written submissions to assist the Commission, including in relation to all the NEC decisions, etc. Could I just digress one aspect, and that is, as you will be aware, Commissioner, several months ago you issued a direction that the Council Assisting were to provide Ashurst, my lawyers, with certain documents. Some of those documents have been provided, but not all of them. Mr. Guerrero indicated in our conversation last week that those documents that had been promised to be provided, some of which were subject of a specific direction, would be provided by last Friday. They haven't been provided yet. And I know that Council Assisting has listed certain witnesses for to come next week. I should just indicate that we haven't seen all the documents. We're not seeking to delay the matter because we note that the Commission is under an exceptionally tight timeframe now to finish the evidence. But I should just indicate that we haven't received those documents yet and we're waiting for them. And that obviously will affect our position in relation to whether we need to examine witnesses or not examine witnesses, and it will also impact on the written submissions that we provide. So we would be most grateful if Council Assisting could arrange for the Commission's office to provide the missing documents as soon as possible. And secondly, just to indicate that Council Assisting thought that the sensible course was, and we submit that it is, for Curtin Brothers to go last in terms of submissions. We should also indicate, consistent with the attitude of what the Commission is doing now and what Councillor Sissing just indicated, a lot of the evidence is really documentary evidence. Hence, Councillor Sissing today has indicated that he's not intending probably to call a lot of the witnesses because they won't particularly add anything material, particularly in the backdrop where the Commission is under, as we've indicated, an extremely tight time frame to finish this report, because there will need to be a lead time to actually write the report, so the evidence and submissions will need to be closed. Council assisting Mr. Gibson Guerrero agreed that it would be appropriate that we go last in terms of the submissions so we can see all the evidence that's put forward and respond appropriately. So in short, in summary, one, we'd be most grateful to receive the documents that have been promised as soon as possible. Two, we're reserving our position in relation to potential cross-examination. And three, we submit it's appropriate that Curtin Brothers, consistent with the conversation with Senior Counsel Sissing, goes last in terms of submissions. I'm not sure whether Council Sissing wishes to say anything or the Commission wishes to say anything about that, but I'm not sure whether Mr. Guerrero communicated that conversation at all to you, Mr. Commissioner, or to Mr. or to Council Assisting.
Thank you, Val. In relation to what I have just stated earlier on, I made a point that, and it goes along with your conversation with Senior Counsel Guerrero, that in considering the position of Curtin Brothers to go last, that's basically what I'm trying to get at, is that in the process of doing that, and given that 27th of February, and if Curtin Brothers, according to the discussion that we have earlier on, that you come in next week, then there might be a conflict that you don't have enough information that will be readily available to look at, because there might be some other information that you urgently need to form your evidences or the cross-examination for that matter. I'm not being probably briefed carefully on that arrangement where Curtin Brothers come last, but I look at the time frame, and also I look at that Curtin Brothers come in next week for the hearing, and that's why I raised the issue as to should the 27th of February can be reversed back a bit to allow maybe you as a key witness to look at some of those evidence, because some of those key witnesses might have some information that are also very important that we might not have. That's why, given the benefit of doubt, I raised that concern. But I'll get my counsel to also have a say on that, to advise me on the position, but the Commission is also flexible on that position if Curtin Brothers could come in at a later stage, because you might have the benefit to look at other documents that is necessary that you want to have. And one of the classic example is the other documents that's supposed to have been given to you as directed. I'm surprised that it's not been given yet, so I hope that this is settled as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. In light of what you've just said, and in relation to what Mr. Fridimos just said in relation to our conversation with Mr. Guerrero last Wednesday, the 8th of February, Mr. Guerrero undertook to provide a number of documents to us, and to assist the Commissioner, if I may hand to you and Mr. Kipper a copy of those documents that we're still awaiting upon, if I can.
Thank you.
Provide a copy to Mr. Kipper, and also to hand to your associate another copy of that schedule.
Thank you.
And Commissioner, if we look at the document, it states that it's a schedule of documents requested and yet to be produced to Ashurst from the Commission of Inquiry into the sale and purchase of the Motukea Wharf. You'll see there that the items are the first category, email correspondence and attachments between the COI and Gemma Lawyers. And so we're still waiting for the production of those documents. Item 2, the Kumul Consolidated Holding Limited exhibit documents, we're waiting for them. We're told that by Mr. Gororo that in relation to the documents in item 3 that there are certain missing NEC documents, including NEC submissions that were part of the documents provided through Ms. Grace so on. We're told through Mr. Gororo that he had a conversation apparently with Ms. Grace so on and that there were no other documents to be provided in that category. So if that is the case, we can't do much more in relation to that unless the Commission somehow obtains those documents. Yes. There's also a letter of intent in item 4 that we're awaiting production of. In respect of item 5, they are the official transcripts of all COI hearings. We've previously provided a memory stick, and so we're awaiting for those transcripts to be provided. And of course in item 6, the landowner applications and relevant documentation, we're waiting for those. And so we understand that we were told that all outstanding documents other than item 3, the missing NEC documents, would be provided to us late last week. And it's consistent also with what you're saying, Commissioner, in terms of if there are documents produced by other parties that we should see them in accordance with the principles of natural justice and procedural fairness. And so it's very important, of course, that we be given access to all documents so that we can obtain proper instructions from our clients.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you.
Counsel assisting.
Response to the this list of documents that's just been given to me by counsel by Mr. Wood. In relation to item 3, I agree with what Mr. Wood has said. I think I had a conversation with Ms. Sowen herself, and she said that what they had, they gave us. In relation to item number 6, I see my name mentioned there. I can't exactly recall, but I think what I said, I have to confirm, was that the documents produced by the Lands Department's officials, that is in relation to summons 14, 15, 16, all those documents that were produced by those witnesses were to be circulated to Ashurst. That's my recollection. But I'll have to go back to the hearing and confirm that. Now, in relation to the conversation had between Mr. Veritimus and Gibson et al., I am not aware of the conversation. However, I leave it up to the Commission to decide whether Ashurst or Curtin Brothers and Ballymore should come last in terms of the submissions.
Thank you, Counsel. I believe the directions were given earlier on for this document to be served on Curtin Brothers. I can recall that. What they have come back is highlighting that they are still awaiting the documents to be served on them. That is the issue now. So the Commission, without going into much debate on this, I have also re-emphasized the direction that these documents must be served on them by 1606 by today. That's the direction, given the reasons that have been given and also the delay. And I know the senior counsel is not here with us this morning, but if he has discussed that with Mr. Varitimos on that issue, then like what the counsel assisting is that he's not aware of that. And also, the commissioner is not also being briefed in detail on that. But given these factors that I have mentioned earlier on, is that if it's reasonable to suggest that Caton Brothers should come at the latest stage of this hearing that has been set, given the fact that this information that we are talking about are the documents that are relevant to this investigation, they must have the benefit of getting this information. That's the principle of natural justice that must be afforded. That's what has been mentioned all the time. It's just a matter of we just have to get ourselves in order, follow all those directives, and get this document in place so that it does not cause a lot of delays in what we requested for. So the two councils are listening. I have reaffirmed my position that this document must be delivered by 1606 today to put this matter to rest. And then what the council has suggested, together with Ms. Senior Counsel Guerrero, that Caton Brothers should probably come at the latest stage of the hearing, given that some of those procedures and process of putting all those things together must be seen as we are really ready to go into the substantive hearing, and at the same time, the cross-examination of key witnesses, questions need to be raised. And these are the areas that we need to look at. We cannot go into something that we are not really prepared unless files are in place, documents are in place. I have this information, I'm ready, I can go into this. That's the position that the Commission would like to be in. So I think Council assisting in relation to the putting Caton Brothers to the last in this specific hearing. What is your position on that?
As I mentioned earlier, Commissioner, I leave it to the Commission to decide that, and that will obviously have entailments on the existing directions, such as all the summons that have been allocated for hearing next week. Thank you.
Thank you. In the absence of the Commission or Commissioner having seen a material evidence to suggest that, and given the complexity of the information that we are now dealing with, I would like also to agree that what you're telling me is the correct position that our senior counsel have suggested, that Caton Brothers would come in last in this hearing. If that position is clear, and in the absence of the information that the assistant counsel assisting the Commission is not aware, and also given the limited information that came to my office, then probably I would lean to that information that you have now suggested with our senior counsel, that Caton Brothers would come in at the later stage until all those areas are satisfied in relation to what we're talking about here in terms of documentation and other key witnesses that have to come. If that is the position that we have to take, then the Commission will now give directions that Caton Brothers, as per the discussion that we have, will come at a later stage until all the other key witnesses like landowners, other interested persons, and other key witnesses, the name in the summons, must come before that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Commissioner, thank you, Mr. Commissioner. And for the record, Mr. Wood also was a party to the conversation and discussion with senior counsel for the Commission. So it was myself and Mr. Wood both participated in that discussion. And I'm sure Mr. Guerrero, senior counsel for the Commission, will confirm what we've indicated.
Similarly to that, I also would like to have a copy of the discussion that you had in relation to that, so that it is on records, so that the Commissioner is aware of that. Now that the Commissioner is making a direction that we will go on with the discussion that you have, that will give benefit to other key witnesses, that they will come in and documentation will come as they flow in, and then it will assist you in giving a written submission.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. To assist the Commission, I'm sure Mr. Wood can arrange to prepare a letter from Ashurst setting out the key points of the discussion with Mr. Guerrero, and he'll be able to organise that in a timely fashion, so there's a record of it. Would that assist the Commission?
Yes, I would love to have that come into my attention.
Thank you.
So if Mr. Wood could prepare that, if I can have that any time when it is practicable for you to come and give it to me.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will write a letter today to confirm our conversation with Mr. Guerrero Wednesday last week. Thank you.
Just to recap what I was talking about in terms of your the information that I received, counsel assisting, email corresponding, and attachment between the COI and GMA lawyers. I just want to confirm that. Have you got all the information on that or not yet?
No, Commissioner. These items 1 through to 6, noting that apparently documents in item 3, there are no further documents to be provided by the NEC, but all other, we're still waiting for all items 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6 to be provided to us.
Thank you. Associate, make sure that this document, email corresponding an attachment between COI and GMA lawyers, make sure that we comply with that. KCHL exhibit documents, that's the other one. The number 3 is agreed by the both parties, so I have no say on that, on the grace on evidence. The letter of intent, that I remember I cited that letter, associate and counsel assisting, look at that, and official transcript of all COI hearing. Now, I don't know, we have a bit of problem last year when all the transcripts are not up to date, but so to speak, as of now, I believe that most of this transcript has now been updated. So I think we also act on that. So counsel assisting and the associate take that into consideration. And also, just want to make a remarks on the landowner application and relevant documentation. You have named Keeper, our counsel assisting, but I think he has explained his position clearly on that. But we can revisit this now and give you the benefit to get this information that require from your end. And I believe maybe this is the final information that you need from the Commission. Am I right in saying this?
Mr. Commissioner, yes, could I just clarify that and answer your question? So in terms of item 3,
yes,
and this will be set out in Ashurst's letter to the Commission, Mr. Guerrero said he was going to confirm in writing back to us that Grace Sayon has indicated that she doesn't have any of the other documents. So he was just going to confirm that in writing, and then we would accept that. In terms of item 6, Mr. Kipper may have misunderstood what we were talking about. In item 6, we're talking about all the applications that have been applications and supporting documents that have been filed by the landowner groups. That's what we're talking about. So they have filed, as we understand it, applications and supporting affidavits. In addition to some of them have put in submissions. We haven't seen any of the documentation whatsoever that have been filed by any of the landowners in terms of the applications, etc. So you're perfectly correct with respect, Mr. Commissioner, that they're the documents. And in terms of item 1, by way of clarification, if you look at the second column of that document, you will see that there's a reference to an Ashurst letter of the 30th of November. The position is that certain correspondence between the COI and Gemma lawyers has been produced, but we've identified in that letter some documents that haven't been produced that have been referred to in the letters that have been. That is, that it's clear from the correspondence we've been provided that there are some additional documents. So one needs to go to the letter from Ashurst of the 30th of November. So to answer your question, they're the missing documents as per the schedule. Could I just raise something to take on board what you, Mr. Commissioner, said? We're concerned that because of the tight time frame and because now that Curtin Brothers isn't going to make submissions next week, that perhaps the proposed extension to the 27th of February of summonses 6 to 18 is a bit potentially too long, given the tight time frame, and perhaps that 27th date should be brought a bit closer to today's date.
When you say it is potentially too long, what are you implying?
So Mr. Kipper is seeking agenda item 6 to 18 to be adjourned to the 27th of February.
Yes.
Given that the report has to be written, published, etc., checked, etc., by I think it's the 28th of April, we're concerned that that 27th date should be perhaps some days earlier than that to allow sufficient time for other steps to be taken in the process to get to a point where all the submissions are finished. So instead of adjourning it to the 27th, perhaps it should be adjourned to the 20th or shortly after the 20th. We're just concerned that if it's delayed that long, it's going to put you, Mr. Commissioner, under even more pressure in terms of being able to produce the report in the time indicated. We're not sure why it needs 2 weeks to extend to the 27th of February, all those summonses.
Thank you, Val. I'm fully aware of that. That's the reason why I made that statement earlier on, that 27, if it's too long, and you are suggesting that 20th will be a good position that we deal with that. Now, I'll have to get the council assisting to give more clarification on that before I give any further direction on that, council.
Thank you, Commissioner. Like I mentioned earlier, I consider 14 days to each of those witnesses to be, reasonable timing for them to come back with whatever it is that we require from them. What documents or what evidence that the various summons will specify from each of those witnesses to return to the Commission. I consider 1 week to be a bit unreasonable, for those persons to put all the information together, all the documentation together, and have it brought back to the Commission. My position on the application remains, but obviously it's up to the Commission to decide on bringing it forward a little bit. But I do also note that the Commissioner has indicated that given a direction for Curtin Brothers to go last in terms of the submissions. Can I seek some clarity here?
Yes.
What will happen to all these summons that have been allocated for hearing next week? Is there an audio? Can you hear me? Next week, in relation to the summons for Curtin Brothers and Ballymore, will they be pushed back because of the direction that, because of the summons, or will they remain? And then we bring forward the summons that have yet to be served, and also there's other summons that have been directed for extension to next week. So next week there's we're kind of lumping up everything to be heard next week. Or is it just the submissions that we're talking about here that will be that Curtin Brothers and Ballymore will come last? That we're talking about here.
Thank you, Council. I need the parties to guide me into that, because the Council has raised another important issue: what will happen to all those summonses and all those, and given that some of the directions that I have given earlier on takes effect. What is your position on that?
Yeah, to be specific about it, Mr. Commissioner, from our conversation with Mr. Guerrero, to be very specific about it, it's our understanding that basically the summonses against Curtin Brothers and Ballymore would be quarantined in a sense and put off right to the end. So that what we understood from speaking to Mr. Guerrero is that the landowners would make submissions this week, and there'd be time limits placed in relation to everyone that makes submissions, including the landowners. So there's a time limit in which they're to make oral submissions. And then at the end, it was proposed, subject to all the evidence going in and sufficient time to consider all the material, then Curtin Brothers would make submissions on the 7th of March, written submissions on the 7th of March, which we expect to be over 100 pages, because, as Council Sisting acknowledged, Curtin Brothers are able to assist the Commission with not just the sort of one term of reference, but can assist in relation to the history of the NEC decisions, etc., in terms of submissions. Then Council Sisting, as would be normal, would make written submissions by the 14th of March, and then Curtin Brothers in reply by the 21st of March, which would then end basically the submissions and evidence, and the Commission would then be free to continue writing the report, which is due by the end of April. And this can be outlined. This will be outlined in Ashurst's letter.
Thank you.
And just also, Commissioner, for the avoidance of doubt, and Mr. Guerrero will have to confirm this, but our understanding from Mr. Guerrero was that in terms of what Mr. Vridimos has just outlined, that was what would be proposed to be put to the Commission. But in terms of, Commissioner, your timeline, we were of the understanding, it needs to be confirmed by Mr. Guerrero, that in relation to paragraph 1E of the amended terms of reference, that there may be other parties who are intending to make call evidence or make submissions in respect to paragraph 1E of the amended terms of reference next week. So by virtue of Curtin Brothers Ballymore going at a later time, that would not impede upon other potential interested parties still calling evidence or giving submissions, making submissions in respect to paragraph 1E of the amended terms of reference next week. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Coming back to the issue of the 27th I like to make a direction here that I look at the flow of summonses that were issued previously and the failure by interested person to appear before this commission. And given the limited time that we have, I always express that things can also happen for a reason. The tendency that a lot of people have is that when they have a look at a document, sometimes they put it aside and then they don't turn up. Some of the key people that are being summoned are respective leaders of this country. But there is an agency that to assist this commission, I have always made a point that if you feel that you want to add something to this commission for the sake of this country, then so be it, you come and show up and give your evidence before the commission. If we go on a lengthy period to extend to more than 10 days, what happened if something happened in between? And then there will be another reason that, no, I could not make it because of these factors, and then it goes on, the list goes on. So in considering that situation, I like to put back the summonses by 1 week. It means that the people who work in this commission, they must work extra hard and get these summonses to those people. And even in their own busy schedule, at their own timing, they would have to make some time to come, given the opportunity they have. So instead of 27, it will be brought back by another 5 days, Council. I'm giving a direction now, so that it's within the 7-10 days that we have.
Commissioner, it's been brought forward to what date?
27, I don't know which day. I don't have a calendar here associated. Monday.
It's the
is
20th, Mr. Commissioner.
So
It'll
you
be
brought
the
it,
20th, Monday the 20th.
yeah, it could be the 20th of February.
20th of February.
Yeah, 28th of February, 20th.
Yes, thank you. So that's next week.
That's, yeah, next week. That's the direction that the Commission gives. this
Commission,
morning.
please.
That instead of the 27th, which is the summonses have to be adjourned, given more time, we also have to make sure that these people work hard too. You don't just have to get information and just sleep on it. I know from my experience that when someone gets information, they just put it aside. But in this Commission of Inquiry, I make my point very clear. You give the limited time, make the people work. Don't sit on information. Because once you do that, you give a lot more work to the Commission, and it becomes like a bottleneck. You're trying to squeeze it out. So in regard to all those extended summons, now I give a direction that it come on the 20th, which is Monday week. We get a direction out on that, then we get a copy for me to endorse. So that settles that issue on the 27th, if you're listening. This is a time that all of us must work very hard. The public perception is that They are looking at the inquiry, and questions have been raised to the mind. It's been going on for some time. When can it come to an end? I'm sitting here this morning to ensure that it must be brought to an end quickly, but in order to do that, we need to assist each other and get all those documents in place, relevant information that is needed, and the evidences that we come across that help guide this Commission of Inquiry come to its closure. That is my position. Thank you, Council. I'll let you continue.
Yes. I move on to item 19, I think. Yes. So agenda items number 19 to 26 are all the leave applications by the landowners. Item 19 is leave application number 6, which is filed by the Nenehi Laurina ILG from Tatana Village through the chairman, Mr. No Gaigo.
Thank you.
Mr. Gawa is present.
Morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Name's Noel Gagoa.
Yes.
I'm the chairman of Nene Laurina Incorporated Land Group, registration number 504, Tatana Village.
Yes.
Commissioner, I propose to have all applications by the landowners fixed for hearing on Thursday and Friday. There's about 8 of them,
Yes.
and the suggestion is that 4 be heard on Thursday and the remaining 4 be heard on Friday. So in light of that, I'm going to ask for a direction that leave application number 6 be listed or fixed for hearing on Thursday, the 16th. Thursday, the 16th of February, 2023 at 10 a.m. for hearing.
Yes. Is that on leave application number 6?
Yes.
I have now given direction that leave application number 6 is returnable on Thursday this week, which is the 16th.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Meaning that you get yourself prepared,
Yes,
with all your documents,
yes.
and when you come to the hearing on Thursday, you should be well prepared. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Cannot be excused from the past then. Thank you.
I refer to item 20, leave application number 7, filed by Araira Lower Body Community. And yes, Mr. No More is here.
Good morning, Commissioner and Council Assistant. For the record, my name is No, N-O-U, surname is Momoru, M-O-M-O-R-U, spokesperson for Araira Laurabara, community of Tatana village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if this one could be set down for hearing on the same date, 11 a.m., 16 Feb 2023 at 11.
Thank you, Council. I have now given direction that you return on the 16th, on Thursday at 10 a.m. for hearing.
Yes, the Commissioner, please. Thank you.
Similarly, get yourself in order, get all the documents in place, so that when you come, you are more prepared. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
And the excuse from the bus stand. Thank you. Yes, Council.
Item number 21 on the list. Yes. Leave application number 8, Inahai Incorporated Land Group. Their representative is here.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Morning.
My name is Mr. Noah Ripi.
Yes.
I represent the Inahi Incorporated Land Group.
Thank
in
you.
this commission of hearing. Thank you.
Commissioner, I propose to ask for a direction to have this fixed for hearing at 1 on the same day. But we can go sooner depending on how we go on the day. But we'll have 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, just to be on the safe side.
That's on Thursday?
Yes.
Okay.
If we can do them all in the morning on Thursday, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. I am now giving direction that you return back on the 16th at 10 a.m. for your hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you for your attendance, and you can be excused from the bar table. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item 22 is leave application number 9 by Ikupu Gavara and Namudia Horseberg.
Yes.
Commissioner, they're not here. We'll have that listed for hearing on the same day as well, and inform them accordingly.
I now give direction that
Yes.
similarly to those others.
That's what I'm asking for,
returnable
Commissioner.
on Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
Item 23, leave application number 10 by Chief Haraka Borima.
Yes.
Chief Haraka is not here, Commissioner. So, if we could have this listed for hearing on Friday, the 17th at 10 a.m.
All right.
for hearing.
Thank you, Council. I am now giving direction that it's returnable on Friday, the 17th at 10 a.m. for hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item 24, leave application number 11 by Mr. Gaudi Ray.
Yes.
Mr. Ray is here.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
For record, name is Gaudi Ray, the chairman and the leader for Tanamotu clan of Baruni village.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. If we could have this fixed for hearing on the 17th at 11 a.m.
Your application has been fixed for Friday. When you return back, that's on the 17th at 10 a.m. Expect
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You can be excused from the bus stand. Thank you.
Agenda item number 25, leave application number 12 by Mr. Kennedy Kevin of the Naurina clan. Mr. Kevin is not here. We'll ask for direction for this to be listed for hearing on the 17th at 1 p.m.
Thank you. I have now given direction that leave application number 12 returns on the 17th at 1 p.m. for hearing. Thank you, Council.
Agenda item 26 is leave application number 13. That's an application filed by Mr. Nico Mark Jones from Tatana Village. Mr. Nico is actually based in Australia, and he appears via video link.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think he is dialing in today. Nevertheless, we'll have this listed for hearing on Friday as well, and we'll inform him accordingly.
Similarly, together with the others, are now directed that the application number 13 is now returnable on Friday, which is the 17th, at about 1 p.m.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just in
file and given to the Commission through our legal team by close of business, which is 1606, tomorrow, which is the 14th. That's a direction.
Thank you, Commissioner. That brings me to the end of the list for today. Commissioner, in terms of the direction given by yourself in relation to Curtin Brothers coming last in terms of submissions, is there a specific date that he will give? Will he give a specific date, or because we will have to then reply, and if we could get some certainty or clarity in terms of those directions there.
Thank you, Council.
Commissioner?
I'm
Mr. Commissioner?
not aware of any specific date, but given the reasons that were discussed earlier on, maybe I give the opportunity for you to explain as to what specific date are you looking at?
Yeah, Mr. Commissioner, can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Commissioner, this will be set out. This will be set out in the letter that Ashurst wrote. But in terms of the discussion with council, senior counsel assisting, it was proposed subject to reserving rights, depending on when we get documents or what other evidence might be given. But on the current state of play, it was envisaged that Curtin Brothers would make submissions and produce any other evidence they want. On the 7th of March,
Yes.
7th of March,
Yeah.
that council assisting would provide any written submissions by the 14th of March,
Yes.
which is normal for council assisting to make submissions. And then Curtin Brothers would reply by the 21st of March.
Is that
So
in
that
line
was
with
the
the, is that in line with our roadmap?
Line with your what? Sorry, your roadmap.
Sorry, what I'm
yes.
saying, I'm asking the question, is that in line with our roadmap?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the roadmap is a bit general. It envisages that there'll be evidence and submissions, February and March, and then the writing of the report in March and April. So the roadmap doesn't actually specifically say what date in March the submissions and evidence is to close. Under this proposal, it's the 21st, but you'll have all the evidence beforehand and it's just submissions in reply. Yes. So effectively, you'll be able to start writing report before the 21st. So it's consistent with the roadmap, because the roadmap envisages all of April to write the report and publish it, and part of March.
I'm with you on that, yes, thank you.
Could I just clarify something,
yes,
Mr. Commissioner?
Yeah, I'm listening, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, may I clarify something? I don't have the benefit of the daily diary because on the internet, the old daily diary's up. But just for the record, if in items 6 to 18, I'm not sure whether that includes the Curtin Brothers or Ballymore summonses in those numbers. It doesn't, Mr. Kipper? Is that right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So on the daily diary, if Mr. Kipper doesn't mind just confirming, so Curtin Brothers and Ballymore aren't listed on daily diary for today, is that right?
No, they're not.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
They're listed for next week.
Thank you, Mr. Kipper.
Thank you, Council. Just to recap what we have stated earlier on, the schedule of documents requested yet to be produced to access from the Commission of Inquiry into selling Peters and Motukea Wharf. They're 1 to 6. We have discussed that. Councillor Singh and the associate make sure that these documents are finished to ashes by 1606. So that these documents go in line with the directions that I gave. That's on the document. And the other one is for the direction that I gave for all those summonses that has been brought back to the 20th, which is Monday. Those are the directions that have now been issued, and also the direction for the submission of the application, submission by the landowner group to reach the office by 1606 on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, the 14th. Is that right, Council? Yes. I think it brings us to the conclusion of what we have on our daily diary this morning. Until we return back on Thursday to deal with the landowner's issue with the application. I don't have any other thing to mention at this stage, but just a reminder that the month of February to March is very crucial for this Commission of Inquiry. The kind of information that we produce and how it is presented, our conscience must be very, very clear in the way we put it. We are trying to clear issues that have affected the public, and we are not here to go around and toss things around just because we want to do it. No. But the same fact is that as Commissioner, I want to make sure that the relevancy of the information, how it is presented, how it is argued, and the evidence put together must lead to the main objective of the Commission of Inquiry through its terms of reference. I'm not going to go outside of the terms of reference, but I stick to what the government has put on the terms of reference and where it was amended for specific question. We must not have any fear when we come to this inquiry because it only helps the public. We are here to demonstrate to the public what we're here for and what we're trying to achieve. And that is to provide clarity on issues that are not being looked at carefully. So I appeal to key witnesses, interested persons. Your information that you give is very crucial to this Commission of Inquiry because it will only add values into what we are here for. Thank you very much for your attendance this morning. And until we return back, as I said, you can now adjourn all the hearing to Thursday, 17th. Thank you.